First off, welcome to the very first video of this series, kickoff for July Patreon's release. We are the mini adventure. On this channel, I'll be posting videos of me preparing for my Patreon. So if you haven't already, go check that out too. Link is in the description. I'd like to point out that I recorded this whole thing with just my phone. I have since found a camera that I'll be trying to use next time. I do know that I'm not a huge fan of the angle, but that's partly the learning process for me. The other thing that I've done a little different is I pulled the speed up to a 3.5 time, and the entirety of me painting is in the video. I don't know if this is the best way of doing it, but it's the way that I did it this time. That being said, I did cut bits out, but it's just me cleaning and reloading the brush, getting paint down on the palette and whatnot like that. So I did that to make the video shorter. Anyways, so this is the mini that I pulled to paint. The way this process works for me is I put a bunch of minis from my pile of shame into brown paper bags. Then reach in, pull one out at random. I did make a video of me doing that. Link is also down in the description. And this is the one I got. Unfortunately, though, because I started collecting and painting minis before the idea of a Patreon and YouTube videos and whatnot, I don't know who created this mini. So if you do recognize it, do me a favor, please drop in the comments who it is. I'd really like to give credit where credit's due. So my painting process for this was meant to be a kind of slap chop, which is what I do a lot of. So when I do this process, I prime the mini black, then I do a heavy spray of gray, and then dry brush it white. And then I paint with traditional paint and methods, and then I do the slap chop at the end. The reason I do this is I find it's easier to touch up the traditional paint that I accidentally get the wash or speed paint onto, more so than the other way around of trying to touch up speed painted stuff after I accidentally get traditional paint on it. So just want to real quick talk about what you just saw happen. So that was me mixing some blue with some gray. Personally, I like mixing paints a lot. I feel like it gives me some neat color combinations that are definitely more one-off, which is cool, makes it more unique, but also on the con side of that makes it a lot harder for me to go back and touch up later if I ever happen to need to do so. After I'm done painting. Obviously, while I'm painting, I'm still going to have that little bit of bluish gray there on the palette. So when I first saw this mini, two things really stuck out to me. The first was the fact that it looked like a celestial, and that got me excited because there's not a lot of adventures out there with celestials as the villain. And even though I saw it was a celestial looking individual when I put it in the bag, it's different when it comes out and I'm saying, hey, this is going to be my villain. So that kind of sort of got me excited to explore some of this unexplored territory of celestial villains. The second thing that I noticed is the skulls on the base. And man, did that stand out really well to me. Why would the celestial have skulls on its base? So I've had some time, both before and after painting, to really think about this miniature and the adventure that it is responsible for inspiring. And so I've come up with the background for this character, and I'm going to share some bits of that with you all. In my world of Belnira, I have a set of celestial beings who serve the goddess Nareth. Quick overview. The gods of Belnira are organized into groups called knots. 3 gods who loosely work together, so there's a total of 4 knots. Nerev is part of the celestial veil knot. She is the goddess of death, peace, memory, and twilight. She's the only deity without her own plane. During the age of creation, the gods finished with the material plane and left to shape the outer planes. Each began crafting realms in their image. The kingdom of flame, the forest of dream, the thorn of memories. But Nerev, goddess of death and peace, found herself unable to begin. So she wandered from realm to realm, observing her siblings' creations. She admired their beauty and purpose, but none of them felt like what she needed. She had no desire to rule, no vision of a paradise, and no appetite for domain. So she turned to the void, where their parents, Thon and Renette, lingered in silence. There, Nerev found her answer, not in light or instructions, but in absence. Her siblings would be collecting the souls of their own dead worshippers. The dead did not need another home, but they needed a guide to their own doors. Now, Nerev has her own celestial servants, known as the Shrouded Choir. As a group, that's what they're called. But as individuals, they are known as Shrouded Whispers. This Mini is a Shrouded Whisper. The Shrouded Choir's job is to escort souls of the dead to the plane of the god or goddess who claims them. That does include Karaf, Lord of the Hells, the demon god. In life, immortals choose to follow different gods in their teaching. When they do so, the god or goddess may choose to have them join them in their realm for the afterlife. So what you see me doing now is dry brushing the wings with some black. While I was painting the Mini and I got the wings painted white, I was real happy with everything. And I started thinking while painting more that, with the Celestials, their wings are white, they're beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Then I started to think to myself, she's falling from grace. She's falling from her created path. And perhaps along with that, the darkness should come with. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to dry brush on some black onto the wings, kind of showing that she's left her celestial form and now her wings are starting to change color with her. Just a neat detail that I thought to add to it. And the thing that I'm using to get the paint off of my dry brush, it is a piece of bark. I'd probably need to get a new one at this point because it's so covered in paint and losing a lot of its bumpiness, if you would. Now back to the lore of the Shrouded Whispers. In some cases, though, mortals can anger a god or goddess, or maybe even more than one. When that happens, the gods can petition Karaf to take the souls that have angered them. He'll always listen, but doesn't always agree. The more gods who join in the request,
the more likely Karath is to accept the soul. Souls that aren't claimed by any deity, though, they go to the void. A neutral place. In the void, souls aren't tortured, they just are, they float. And over time, they slowly fade away. When a shrouded whisper arrives to the dead, they sing a song or play the song for the dead. While the living normally cannot hear this song, when they do, it's a terrifying sound, haunting and unnatural. But for the dead, it's a gentle lullaby that guides them on.
All right, so this part right here kind of drove me nuts. The hand. I got some paint on her hand, and I tried covering it up with some of the white, and then it didn't cover all the way, and then painted other stuff, covered it again, and the hand was just a pain in the butt for me to get to a point that I was happy with.
Now, this Shrouded Whisper has been taking more and more souls to the void and the hells. Quick thing, I don't have a name for her yet, and I'd love your help with that. Do me a favor, drop a suggestion in the comments before June 27th, and I might choose one of them to give her the name.
So here you see me again going after that hand problem that I created for myself, trying to get it fixed. And then I move on to something else. I use the technical paint Blood for the Blood God here, and she has a little gem on her crown, and I paint it with that. I'm just trying to make it pop like it's a vial of blood, maybe, or something. I don't know. But the other thing that I do is I try splattering some blood onto the rock below her, kind of as if there's just been a battle or something.
So, let's go back, talk about what's going on with her. She has been doing her duty faithfully, but something has started to change. She's been making lots of trips to the void and to the hells. In the hells, she sees demons and devils, powerful beings who live just as long as her, with fewer rules and responsibilities. That begins to wear on her. She begins to question her own purpose and freedom. In the void, she sees the souls she once guided slowly fade to nothing. That weighs heavily on her now. Over time, it breaks her. She stops doing her job. She stops guiding souls to the void. And that is what is wrong with the world right now.
I hope you've at least halfway enjoyed watching me putz around and mess with painting this miniature here, as I finish up doing what I understand is almost every painter's least favorite part of the painting process, which would be the eyeballs. Yeah, so if you could do that awesome YouTube-y stuff, give me a like, subscribe for more. And yeah, go ahead and check out my Patreon. This adventure that the Shrouded Whisper is for will be dropping on Tuesday, July 1st. That's when I'll be dropping every Patreon thing will be the first Tuesday of every month. And again, thank you for taking your time and watching this video. And here's a little bit of a look of the miniature after everything was all said and done.